Barbadians told it's time to discuss chronic non-communicable diseases. A driver is hurt as a route taxi overturns. And in sports, Pinelands draw level with Cougars in the Women's League tournament.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sophia Alsop, Cambridge, with this Sunday, October 7th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, there is an urgent plea tonight for Barbadians to take control of their health and of their lives. The call has come from Prime Minister Mia Motley at the start of this year's CIBC First Caribbean Walk for the Cure.
3, 2, 1.
Barbadians are being told it's time for a national conversation on chronic non-communicable diseases. According to Ms. Motley, NCDs are often the result of the choices we make in life.
There's no sense me working hard as Minister of Finance to make money available, to put you through school, to put you at university, to be able to make sure you can go to the polyclinic when you want, when you get a bad feel or when something happened to you. And then all of this investment comes to nothing because, like me, you smoke, used to smoke. Or like me, you have a little more weight that we need to get through on. Or that you're drinking a little too much.
Prime Minister Motley was addressing the thousands of people who turned out for the CIBC First Caribbean Walk for the Cure in association with Gildan. She expressed regret that Education Minister Santia Bradshaw could not be present after she announced her own fight with breast cancer in August. Medical coordinator of the Barbados Cancer Society's breast screening program, Dr. Shirley Jagru, says of the 6 to 7 new cases diagnosed each month, most are in the early stages. She's called on corporate Barbados to do more to help upgrade treatment equipment at the hospital.
Barbados has to upgrade its radiotherapy service, offering what is more acceptable in 2008. Linear accelerator is the way forward. That is the radiotherapy of the time, instead of cobalt. This is a costly exercise, but it is possible. Corporate Barbados, I appeal to you that you should think of taking on this challenge.
More than 17,000 of the pink T-shirts were purchased for this year's walk. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks so much, Sharika. There's good news tonight for psychiatric hospital employees. Government is promising to address problems with payment of their salaries. Minister of Health and Wellness, Jeffrey Bostic, says a solution should be found before the end of October.
To those of you who've been having challenges with payments over the last few months, let me assure you that I had requested a list of all such persons throughout the entire health sector. That list has reached me. I've looked at it. I forwarded it to the Ministry of Finance. And on Thursday, a copy of that list was delivered to the Prime Minister, and we intend to resolve those issues by month end.
Well, Minister Bostic was speaking at a church service in recognition of Mental Health Month at the Abundant Life Assembly in Bank Hall. The focus of the month is the mental health of young people as they face new challenges like cyberbullying. The minister says consideration is being given to introducing a school-based mental health program in the next academic year. He also believes that the church has a role to play.
Within the next 2 weeks or so, I will be having some meetings with churches to see how I can get the churches in Barbados to anchor a national mentorship program for our young people, so that the churches will have young people from within the catchment areas of the churches being mentored by members of the church. And if we do this and do it right, we would have done a great service to the country of Barbados.
Well, a St. Michael man is being treated at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital tonight after the route taxi that he was driving overturned this afternoon. He is Tony Yearwood of Eden Lodge in St. Michael. The accident occurred at the Bell Junction on the Barrow section of the ABC Highway. Mr. Yearwood complained of injuries to his neck and to his back. Glyne Wilson, who's a coconut vendor who had just left Newton Christchurch, where he plies his trade, saw exactly what happened.
A car crossed the ZR van on the opposite side of the ZR van, and the ZR van hit the intersection, crossed the other side of the road and hit the wall where the bridges and flip and turn over. We automatically stopped my vehicle, jump over the other side of the wall, ran to the ZR van, saw the gentleman laying down on the ground, where I saw he was still breathing, and other people started to come on the scene, where we then got a crowd of people come, and we pushed over the van on it because the van was laying across his feet. Someone called the ambulance, and the ambulance came then.
Well, there's been a shooting incident at Lightfoot Lane in the city. 38-year-old Wayne Barker of Bush Hall in St. Michael was taken to hospital by ambulance after he was shot in his abdomen. The incident occurred just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. A house has been destroyed in the headquarters of the Hope Foundation, damaged during an early morning blaze today. Lawmen say they received a report of a house fire at about 2:15 at number 23 George Street, Belleville, St. Michael. 2 fire tenders responded and extinguished the blaze at the abandoned building, but hours later they were called back to the scene after the fire reignited.
Everything seems to be safe at present, but this morning when the guys arrived, this abandoned building was fully engulfed in flame. It took them approximately 3 hours to bring it under control, to extinguish, to be exact.
The owner of the raised building is unknown. However, one of the windows in the building next door, which houses the Hope Foundation, cracked as a result of the immense heat. A resident in the area provided an eyewitness account of how things unfolded.
I thought the rain was falling or something, but afterwards I hear these 2 loud pop noises. Next thing you know, the entire building began on fire, and we saw people coming out from the neighboring houses, and everybody was just outside looking at everything. And the front part of the house was wooden, so that whole front part was all caught on fire. But as you can see, the back part of the building is made of concrete, so that didn't get burned down, thankfully.
Well, investigations into how the blaze began are ongoing. Well, as of midnight tonight, there will be a drop in the prices of gasoline and liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, while the prices for diesel and kerosene will increase. Gasoline will now be sold at $3.89 per litre, down $3.91, a decrease of 2 cents. Diesel will retail at $3.20 per litre, up from $3.14, an increase of 6 cents. Kerosene will be sold at $1.50 per litre, up from $1.47. This is an increase of 3 cents. In the meantime, the 100-pound cylinder of LPG will now retail at $142.31, a decrease of 97 cents. The price of the 25-pound cylinder will move from $40.92 to $40.68, a reduction of 24 cents. The price of the 22-pound cylinder has decreased by 22 cents, while the price of the 20-pound cylinder has been reduced by 20 cents. Well, the increased use of technology has had a mixed impact on postal services in Barbados and around the world. So says Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Celia Pollard-Jones. She told a service to mark World Post Day at the Ellerton Wesleyan Holiness Church that social media and direct messaging have lessened the need for letter services. On the other hand, she says there's been an increase in e-commerce, with far more items being imported through the post.
Between 2014 and 2017, for instance, there has been a 91% increase in e-commerce parcels passing through the post. The Universal Postal Union is of the view that in this age of digital and mobile technology, where customers are demanding more and want things right here and right now, postal services can only mitigate risk and seize opportunities if they engage in reform. Thus, the need to reinvent themselves, embrace digitalization, redefine their value proposition, and develop new products and services.
And Ms. Pollard-Jones says work on this transformation has already started in Barbados.
Our Postal Service is now using innovative technologies to achieve this goal. Some of these include radio frequency identification chips, global monitoring systems, cloud technology, and the International Postal System .post, which enables tracking and tracing of postal items. The 19 locations island-wide are not only linked by government's wide area network, but also by the counter management system SWIFT, which allows for efficient and transparent counter operations.
The annual commemoration of the lives lost in the bombing of Cubana Airline 455 off the west coast of Barbados is not just a routine remembrance ceremony. Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, Sandra Husbands, made the point during this year's wreath-laying ceremony at the Paynes Bay Monument in St. James. It's dedicated to the victims of the attack. Among those gathered for the occasion was Cuba's ambassador to Barbados, Francisco Fernandez Peña. Minister Husband says the attack will never be forgotten.
This act of terrorism, which occurred in our territorial waters off Barbados, just off in the sea from where we are gathered, is forever etched in our memories. So when we gather here on an annual basis, it is not out of routine, of the obligation we feel, but to ensure that this heinous act, for which final justice is still pending, remains in our consciousness.
Well, Ambassador Peña lamented that after more than 4 decades, there's been no justice for the victims.
42 years after this terrorist act, as a matter of fact, state terrorism, justice has not come. And unfortunately, even though nobody here, as human beings, have the desire for other people to die, but it's very cruel and ironical that all of the intellectual authors of this despicable act have died by natural death.